This is my biography on Helen Keller. Helen Keller is known by most of the world for her ability to overcome her enormous challenges in her life. Being blind as a young child would make it difficult for anyone to learn to read and write, while being deaf would make it hard to learn to speak. Keller overcame both of these obstacles at the same time, learning how to read, write, and speak as a young deaf and blind child. By overcoming her challenges, she inspired others to do so as well. Born in Tuscumbia, Alabama in 1880, Helen Keller was not born blind or deaf. She was born with full vision and hearing, just as many children are. She would run through her home while her parents listened to the sounds of her laughter, until she was 19 months old. In her 19th month of life, she contracted scarlet fever. Scarlet fever is a fever that even many adults during that time period did not live through, so it was a surprise when she pulled through. Even though she had lived through the fever had taken away her hearing and sight as a consequence. Being a young child that could no longer see or hear anymore, Helen's parents felt as though she could not be disciplined. This led her to becoming unruly and having poor manners. She would steal food from family members' plates at the dinner table during mealtime and throw it. She would eat with her bare hands, and she would even go outside without shoes or proper clothing on. And her parents felt like there was no way to stop her behavior. As a last resort, Keller's parents wrote a letter to Perkins Institute for the Blind for some sort of answer. What they got in return was a tutor by the name of Anne Sullivan. Sullivan was patient with disciplining and teaching Helen Keller, and for that reason, Keller was able to read, write, and speak by age 10. Anne's teaching brought out Keller's true intelligence. That was proven by her many articles written, lectures given, and the presidents she had the opportunity to meet in her lifetime. She became an inspiration worldwide. Thanks to Helen Keller's ability to overcome a major challenge, many other people in this world are inspired to do the same with their lives. Keller also founded the Helen Keller International Organization to prevent blindness and malnutrition in children. Her legacy lives on today through her articles, speeches, and her organization. Now I'm going to read a speech by Helen Keller herself. We are facing a grave crisis in our national life. The few who profit from the labor of the masses want to organize workers into an army which will protect the interests of the capitalists. You are urged to add to the heavy burdens you already bear the burden of a large army and many additional warships. It is in your power to refuse. We are not preparing to defend our country. We have no enemies foolhardy enough to attempt to invade the United States. Yet everywhere, we hear fear advance as argument for armament. Congress is not preparing to defend the people of the United States. It is claiming to protect the capital of American speculators and investors in Mexico, South America, China, and the Philippine Islands. Every modern war has had its root in exploitation. The preparedness propagandists have still another object, and a very important one. They want to give the people something to think about besides their own unhappy condition. Every few days we are given a new war scare to lend realism to their propaganda. They are taught that brave men die for their country's honor. What a price to pay for an abstraction! Lives of millions of young men, other millions crippled and blinded for life. Existence made hideous for still millions of more human beings. The achievement and inheritance of generations swept away in a moment, and still nobody better off for all the misery. Strike against war, for without it no battles can be fought. Strike against manufacturing shrapnel and gas bombs and all other tools of murder. Strike against preparedness that means death and misery to millions of human beings. Be not dumb, obedient slaves in an army of destruction. Be heroes in an army of construction. Thank you.